Welcome back to the Live Fire Media Show with your hosts, Kawaka47, also known as Dave from High Point, and the always entertaining and enlightening Hunter Elliott from RangeHot.com. Hang out with us as we talk about guns, games, gear, movies, and whatever other things that seem to come across our minds. So welcome to the show. By the way, this is episode 6? I thought it was 7. Hell if I know. 6 or 7, who gives a shit? You're here. I'm here.
It is the
matters.
It is the first day of the rest of our lives.
Isn't that like every day?
Yes, Dave. So, man,
yeah, go ahead. Go for it.
I've got something to share, but it's going to take me about 7 minutes to recount it. So, if you've got anything on your brain, I would.
Oh, you got to think and process things. Okay, well, so
no fucker face. I fucker face.
See,
Yeah.
is this a little bit of CRS? Can't remember shit.
That's called birthdays, baby.
Oh, yeah. Okay, like I said, CRS can't remember shit.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's so funny. Like we record this on Wednesday because that's just what seems to kind of work out. Thursdays is my usual like literally go to range day where I hit the range with either myself or a couple buddies. Just depends on what's going on. And last week we usually text early in the week about if we're going to go or not, depending on like weather, just shit we have going on in life. And last week it was a busy week. It was moving fast, and all of a sudden, usually I leave work about 4:00 to go meet up at 4:30, drive an hour to get to our range.
Wow.
So yeah, so last week, it's quarter after 4. I was like, oh shit, it's after 4. I need to get out of here. I'm driving home, and I texted the group. I was like, yo, are we shooting? Because usually somebody's texting early in the morning, like 8, 9 o'clock. Hey, are we good today? Hadn't heard from anybody. Didn't think about it because again, I was busy. So I threw out to the guys. I'm like, hey, are we in? Are we shooting? And they were like, no. It's like, oh, well, I'd already like Monday asked another guy who's comes out when he can. It's not very often sometimes. And he was in for shooting Thursday. And I texted him earlier in the week. I was like, dude, I want to shoot shotguns. I'm bringing my 1301, my Benelli. I was like, or my Benelli, my Beretta. Because I just want to shoot that thing. And he's like, okay, I'll bring mine. So it was him and I. We got out there, started petering off with he wanted to check his Zero from a laser he bought. Slave it up when we do some night vision stuff. And after that, I was like, are you good with that? Because I'm ready to like blast at this 1301 Beretta because this thing's just cool. And going to bed? Okay. Good night.
Hello.
You're just making this more crap for me to cut out there, pal. Get out of here.
I know. I want you to do more work. Ah.
Get him! Kill him!
Jesus.
Get him!
Yeah, because I love it. It's more we're gonna have to like go and edit the shit in Premiere.
Why would you cut that out? That's awesome. And I'm confident you deserve that.
Shut up. So, anyways, yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah. I'm moving on. What did you recall? What you're thinking about now?
No. I'm just this light and this really shitty cameras.
But dude, you've got. I'm sorry. I'm arguing on cameras.
I want to hear the story. Fuck! Don't pay attention to me.
No, that's just it. No, we went out there with both with our Berettas, 1301s, mostly just banging out. There's the one range has got half dozen or so steel plates, different sizes, shapes, like silhouettes, gongs, squares, whatever. And we just kind of like ran back and forth between a couple barrels, just blasting a couple, like double tapping a couple targets, run to the barrel, double tap a couple more, and do like reloads on the fly, pulling from like a pouch and trying to, ram reloads in because, nothing is like running a semi-automatic handgun or rifle where it's magazine drop, magazine in, button, go. Shotgun, it's more technical pain in the ass. You're trying to like get rounds oriented right and shove that shit in. But dude, the amount of fun we had just blasting with those shotguns in the steel like that. I'm just kind of like, I'm kind of bored and done right now shooting like my ARs and AKs and shit. I think most this year,
fun, man.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think most this year I'm going to focus more on like shooting my shotgun and more my lever gun because just the fun factor, man. It's just doing something as simple and stupid as running between two barrels, shooting some targets was awesome. It was absolutely awesome.
And, something about the shotgun is a lot of people have a lot of different opinions on what is a suitable home defense tool.
Oh my God. That's like such a beat a dead horse at times.
Right.
People.
Right. I mean, however, it can never really be argued that the shotgun is not an ideal home defense tool.
I'd look at, I won't even say ideal. I'll just say any gun you are comfortable with and proficient with can work and will work. I mean,
but some people's like, I want an AR, but they're like,
right.
oh, well, you're worried about it over penetration or it's so loud or that. But I feel like even the most hard-headed, gun nut, nobody could argue that the shotgun isn't a fantastic home defense weapon, or I mean, you're like,
honestly, I'll say I know a lot of new age guys that will take the AR 99% of the time and say it is the way better home defense gun.
Really?
And I kid you not, but that's where I say, and I think honestly saying the shotgun is like near the top, like you're saying, I think is definitely more of an old school thought. But I'm gonna say it like this: it doesn't matter. You need to take in consideration, like I have a split floor plan house. You know what that means? Well, so that's your cabin, same way. Your bedroom versus other bedrooms are on opposite ends of the house.
Right.
So at that point, coming off my bedroom, technically straight out is not at my kids' rooms, but immediately to a couple degrees left and the right would be towards their rooms.
Right.
But my front door, though, is immediately 90 degrees from my bedroom door. So I'm immediately be coming and swinging out that direction. So at that point, I'm going to use whatever the hell is available to me, and blast a dude at my front door. And I can go beyond that and go, okay, so if I have an AR in that sense, go from my front door, like the length of the house to the front door, go beyond the front door, across the entire street. It's 50 yards from my front door to my neighbor's front door to their front door. Their house actually is a similar model to mine. So all the bedrooms are even behind more walls. So in my case, I think I'll run an AR. I don't give a shit. If I miss a couple shots and it goes to their front door, they're fine. They're going to be okay.
They might not love
but again, right. They're not like that at all. But then you can go in the argument of a shotgun with birdshot, buckshot, whatever.
So my favorite is 2 3/4, number 4 buck.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there's an aspect of home defense that a lot of people never consider.
Okay.
And it dawned, we were shooting last weekend with Andrew Barnes, Barnes Precision Machine.
Mm-hmm.
You'll help me do a couple reviews, and Chad's actually Andrew makes a 308 AR pistol.
Nice.
So
Jesus.
Chad is actually, his first review is going to be of Andrew's 308 AR pistol. But anyway, we're out there shooting, and I've got a little 7.5 inch SBR, as you've seen, and Chad's got a little 7.5 inch SBR.
Right.
And we were, I'm sorry, his is a pistol. We were out shooting that, and maybe he didn't have his squishies in good, or his and he touched it off a couple times, and he looked at me with this look on his face like, oh my God, that thing is ungodly loud. And I'm like, yeah, you're like, you think, oh, I got this super shorty with a 30-round mag, got a light, got an optic. This is the perfect home defense. And I'm like, think about it. Even a 16-inch carbine.
Oh, yeah.
Dave, if you're in a room and you touched off an AR in 5.56 without ears, I mean,
it's going to wake up like crazy if you were asleep. I mean,
I've inadvertently, like I've got to the firing line before and had my squishies hanging from my neck.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking boom. And you're like, oh my God. Now this is a mat. So I'm like, take that. You're in your house in a 10 by 10 bedroom.
Right.
And you touch that off, and maybe your wife and kids are over here in the corner.
Right.
I'm like, they're going to have goo running out of their ears. Now, on the other hand, a 12 gauge shotgun inside, it's not going to be pleasant.
Right. but it's
it
not
ain't-
gonna be as god awful as
it
the
ain't
rifle
gonna be that
boom.
bad. Now I know everybody's like, "Oh, well, you just screw a can on it," and yeah, that's what I would do.
Sure.
The majority of Americans don't run cans on much anything.
Yeah, and to say, oh, we'll just run a can on it, like that's why it's like it's like anything else with guns, man. It's all personal options, personal choices, personal preferences.
I
you
don't
know.
hate on the guy running an AR.
Oh hell no. Same here.
You need to
But when
consider
you're
how
when you're
loud-
hate on a shotgun and say a shotgun is not an effective home defense tool, I'm gonna go, you know what, dude, I disagree.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell you you're wrong, but I'm gonna say I disagree. I think a shotgun can be just fine.
Now,
In fact, I'm pretty sure shotgun has been fine for a long time for people too.
I'm
Yeah.
going to say that there's two caveats with the shotgun that I need to bring up.
Yeah, go for it.
The stand outside the door and rattle the barrel, scare 'em off.
That's like the Joe Biden shit, just
Yeah.
blast in the air. You know?
Here's the thing: if you've got a home defense shotgun, the only time you're racking it is to get a spent shell out because
right.
you need to have one in the pipe. And two, there's like you don't have to aim a shotgun.
Yeah, bullshit.
You don't have to aim it like a rifle.
No, but you got to be pointing in a general direction.
Still,
Yeah.
you still better have a front sight on that, and you know, especially if you're shooting like inside of 30, 40 feet,
Right.
you know, and you've
Right.
only got a cone coming out like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, so
Yeah. Everybody thinks that like a shotgun spreads like immediately it turns into this like
no.
wide pattern shot as soon as it
What
leaves
is
that barrel. And,
They say it spreads. Oh, I'm gonna get this wrong.
dude, I have no way on top of my head with that shit. I know what you're getting at.
Yeah, it's like out of your standard cylinder bore choke
Right.
in a 16-inch barrel using 2 3/4 number 7.5. It's like for every inch it travels forward, it spreads an inch.
Yeah. There's
I may have that wrong though. I may have that wrong.
Well, the thing I'd say people look up is there's a great video from the Firearm blog when James Reeves and company were out at Thunder Ranch, and Clint's talking, and he has this guy holds his demo up of these circles in his like string, and he holds it out from one end of the building to the other, showing you what that spread pattern is. And you just look at it and you're like, holy
Right.
shit!
Yeah.
Like, yeah, shotguns, man, they're nasty. But what is it? There's something different about them shooting, man. They're so awesome. I don't care if it's a pump or semi-auto. Shooting a shotgun is
prefer
just
pump.
awesome.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I think that it's a whole nother animal. Of course, you know, they say the shotgun is the hungry bitch. Even if like my home defense shotgun is a Winchester model 1300 12 gauge Defender, what they call a speed pump. And I've got a it came from Winchester with a 7-round capacity magazine and a 16.5-inch barrel. And then I did a +2. And I did a +2, and then I went and bought. They made that Winchester as a hunting shotgun, and so you could buy the barrel. So I bought a 16.5-inch.
You mean
barrel.
18 and a half, not 16. That's the SBS.
Oh, you're right. I'm thinking rifle. I'm sorry.
I know it's okay. It's all right.
You're right.
That's why I'm calling it out. It's all right.
Yeah, no, thank you. 18.5-inch, and it's got a
Dumb,
great,
by the way.
big, beautiful bead on the front
Right.
that you can own a front sight post, and so, and then it's got a rear aperture. So now I've got a barrel with, you know, it's like an aperture and then a front sight with a bead.
Yeah, I know the style you're talking about.
And 9 rounds, and then I got a little 5-round sight saddle.
Right.
And I feel perfectly comfortable with that, stoked with 2 3/4 number 4 buck.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I've got on my side saddle, I've got it's a 6-round side saddle, 3 up, 3 down, from loading, you know, from slide lock 1 at a time. And then the back 3 is if you get a lull, you can feed the bit.
Oh, okay. Interesting. See, that's the fun bit I'm running into is I've got I'm using these S-Tac shotgun cards. They hold, I think, 6 or 7 rounds in them. And right now I've got them all inverted, and because I feel like I've got like the John Wick style match saver. So when it's empty, I can slide that one back into the breech and immediately hit the bolt. So there's one that's hot.
At least
And
you
then I
got
come back, pull them underneath and an in, under and in, all 7 of them. And I haven't played with them like coming over the top or pulling them out and coming under, You know, I'm sure there's like anything else. There's 100 different reasons why you could do it one way or the other. You know, but I'm just trying to play with it.
I've taken a couple shotgun defense classes, and you know, the big takeaway I got was, if you run your shotgun dry, it's quicker to load one and shoot than it is to try to top it off.
Sure.
So, and I don't know if I need to go get mine, and I don't know that I do, but my side saddle, the first three I've got the brass up, and then the back three I got the brass down.
Right.
And so in the event I run the shotgun dry, I've got 3 rounds where I can slide it out of the saddle, drop it in the ejection port, and boom.
Right.
But the next 3 with the brass down, if I get a lull,
right,
I can just reach it, pull it, and feed it.
No, that makes sense.
And that's what I like about a pump. Of course, I know you can do it with an autoloader as well.
Yeah.
But I'm a little more comfortable with a pump. And I was at some gun store, and they had, do you know what the little mini shells are?
Yeah. I've run those. My KSG, you can hold like 20 of them in there.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
They had them on sale, and I bought like a couple hundred of them. And they run beautifully in my 1300. And I can double the capacity.
Yeah, so I've only ran those in my 870 and my KSG.
But you can't run them in a gas gun.
No, you definitely can't. Definitely got to run typically a little bit hotter stuff in the gas gun. But so far, that 1301, everything I fed it eats. You know, like I said, normal length shells, but you know, it's a dream to shoot. It's just awesome.
All right.
So with that, I'm gonna roll into this one. I saw this bit on Reddit, and it's funny. On Reddit, I try to be like the most like gun attitude, positive guy in the sense of you do you, you know. And I saw a guy threw his setup on there, and he had on his AR now, he had a light mounted on the 6 o'clock, right in the bottom of the rail, right at the end of his handguard. And he goes, "Hey, you know, I'm trying it down here. What do you guys think?" I didn't read anybody else's comments. I right away just went, "Dude, you do you, but also don't be afraid to move it around, try it out in different spots."
Right.
You know, run it at 6, run it at 3, run it at 9, run it at 12, you know, run it where the hell you want. I was like, because everybody on here is going to give you opinion of what is the definitive way to run your light. In the end, it's bullshit. You run it where it works for you. It doesn't fucking matter beyond that.
Right.
And oh man, was I getting downvoted for that? And guys like arguing, it's like, "Oh, that's the stupidest thing. Sure, you can run anywhere, but the optimum placement is 11 o'clock and 2 o'clock, depending on right or left-handed." And I was like, "Cool, dude, whatever, man. You do you. Whatever works for you is what works. But don't be afraid to change your stuff around." The OP didn't he wasn't fighting with it, you know.
So that brings me to another point. I was somewhere, and I think it was Gunsight.
Okay.
And I believe it was Gunsight. And I think it was, and we were doing some revolver stuff with the late great Ed Head.
Yeah, another name.
And he was a amazing instructor, amazing revolver guy. But we were talking, and we were kind of, you know, shooting and getting some instruction and yada yada yada. And so this we had a couple media guys out there, and this one media guy was not shooting from what we would call a fundamental shooting position.
Okay.
It was a little different. It was a little weird. but Dave, he was shooting well.
I mean, if you're shooting well, what really matters at that point? I mean,
and so one of the other students or somebody there attempted to kind of correct him.
Oh, a student was trying to correct it. Okay.
Right. And, you know, he's like, "Oh, you should do your grip like this." And I'm paraphrasing, and I hope I get this right. But Ed was like, "Look," and he was far more poignant than I.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Just roll with it, man.
He was like, fundamental basics generally lead to correct fundamentals generally lead to good shooting.
Right.
He said, but everybody's got to be comfortable.
Yeah.
He said, at the end of the day, we're going for 2 things: safety and accuracy.
Right.
And he's like, if you can hold your revolver upside down, but you're shooting safe and accurate,
Right.
that's and then he whipped the revolver upside down
Sure.
and was ringing steel with his pinky.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm gonna teach you the fundamentals. And for the most people, this is what you're gonna need. He said, but for the odd person that finds a more comfortable shooting position,
Right.
if they're safe and accurate, go with that.
Yeah.
And that just goes to what you say. You gotta. Nobody can tell you what to do until you've tried a bunch of different ways and figured out what works best for you.
And that's where a lot of it, I think, just comes from. There's too many keyboard commando, Instagram shooter guys.
Mhm.
I mean, they're like, oh well, the shadow casting. Well, if you have a can or not at that 6 o'clock position is horrible. It's like I want to be like, I so want to argue more, but I was like, this is like arguing with stupid. I'm not going to do that because like I'm, back in the day, pretty much all your flashlights were mounted at like the 6 o'clock position because there was this cool thing, this Surefire big ass forward grip handguard flashlight that mounted directly underneath your rail. That's where it was at. MP5s, they're integrated flashlight handguards. Guess where the light was at? It was on the 6 o'clock position. So it's like, shut the hell up, people. If you don't like it there, put it somewhere else. But don't tell like this dude, this is the one way to do it. That's why I said it. I was like, dude, run it wherever the hell you want.
I got a cat crawling up my back.
I mean, I can tell you most of my ARs, I have mine running at like the 1-2 o'clock position, pretty far forward. But then I've got like my lever action. It's right on my left side, so it's at 9 o'clock because that's just where my thumb's at with it.
Sure.
The shotgun, I'm still playing with it. I do have a grip my MP5 where it's on a bob. It's at 6 o'clock. So it's like, it doesn't matter, people. You're so worried about some fucking shadow being cast from your light. It's like, that's what you're worried about. Like, retarded. It's retarded, man.
I shot. Frankie McRae used to run 37 PSR range outside of Bragg. Amazing shooter, amazing instructor, really good guy. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. And so we would shoot the Friday night fights. And essentially, in Friday night fights, and we've talked about this, is he had a shoot house that had no roof, but it had rooms.
Look, it's 6 o'clock. It's on the bottom.
Right. And it
Sorry.
had rooms and hallways and couches and old TVs. And the shoot house was made of creosote poles and pieces of wood and landscaping fabric. So, like every match, the house was different.
That's awesome.
But anyway, at the time, my home defense setup was a Glock 17 with. Do you remember? This was a long time ago. AAC introduced the Illusion silencer, the Illusion 9, and
Vaguely.
And it was on a concentric.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot like that. What's that?
Like the Osprey that I have.
Right.
Yeah.
So even with those really crappy Glock sights, there was very little can sticking above
the
slides. So I ran the Friday night fights a long time with that setup, and I had a Streamlight TLR1, and then I had that AAC Illusion 9 silencer. Now, did that can cause a shadow to be cast? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Did it really matter? No. Because you would go in there and you could only run your light 3 seconds at a time.
Nice.
If you ran it more than 3 seconds, you got a procedural.
Nice.
And he didn't count. You had a RO behind you, but you had a count.
Right.
So, you would hit that light on, and you would see this kind of a U-shaped shadow. Yeah. But that light was so bright that the light bled into the shadow.
Yeah. It's not like it's that sharp contrasting.
Right.
Black zone,
No, it was not a black zone. It was just kind of it was a little less lit. But still, even with of course, now I upgraded those Glock sights pretty quick after I started shooting those matches. But even with those really, really crappy Glock sights, it worked. Now, I put some Miopta. They made this damn fiber optic front sight. It was like 2 inches long. And it was green. and it was
I
so
almost have a good
long
knot sight.
that when you would hit your you would hit your weapon light, it was so much fiber optic that it
Yeah.
would even gather ambient weapon light and it would
Yeah.
glow green.
Yeah.
I switched over to that, and I mean, way gooder than those shit box cells.
And it's funny. I wish I would have thought to comment that too. Going, if 6 o'clock is so bad, then how come all our pistols are mounted that way? I mean, it's just again because it's all keyboard commander dumb shit. Like, I'm not saying I'm an expert running around with the light of my gun, but you know what? I do probably more night shooting than most damn people at my range when we build our targets out, and especially if I throw my can on my rifle. Yeah, guess what? Even when they're positioned on that, like I said, what am I like 1-2 o'clock? When I threw that light on, guess what? That can's still casting a damn shadow at everything I look at.
But it's not debilitating.
Shit, no.
It's not debilitating. So
that's why it's a dumbass argument, man. That's why it's so stupid. And people get all sensitive, like this is where it should be mounted at.
YouTube's the worst. I get those.
It's all of it, man. It's Instagram.
Those commenting on my Range Hot YouTube. They're like, you should teach. For example, Chad's little girl Courtney. She's 19 now, but this was a couple years ago. She was like 17, and she's like, she says she's 5 foot tall, but I ain't buying it. She's like 4'11 and a half, and she's like 115 pounds maybe.
That's
she was shooting she's a little girl, she's a little girl at the time. I think she was like 17 years old.
Right.
And she was out shooting my Marlin Trapper in 45-70.
Shit.
Yeah. But she couldn't hold it up. So what we did is I got
or something.
She was shooting out here at about 30 yards, put her on a bench, and she kind of squatted on the bench and then had like a little bench rest for the forearm.
Right.
She would shoot, and then she would have to reach. Now, she couldn't stick her hand in the lever to actuate it. She had to grab she just didn't have a lot of upper body strength.
Right.
So and of course, that 45-70, it takes a little bit. And I'm like, okay, Courtney, when you go to run the lever, you can't
run it.
Dilly dally.
Yeah.
So
don't be gentle, just run it hard.
And she would shoot, boom. She would grab the lever like in her hand, and then she would
and rip it.
Right. And shoot. And now she was at like 30 yards, shooting at probably a 10 by 10 piece of steel. Sure. Now she 3 out of 3 or 4 out of 4 times she rang the steel.
Yeah.
But people just got on there and they're like, you need to teach that girl how to shoot. She has no business shooting a lever gun like that. Where's her father? And I'm like, whoa.
Bullshit.
Here's a 112-pound 17-year-old shooting a 45-70.
Yeah.
And even at 30 yards with iron sights, ringing steel. And you're going to talk about how about, oh my God, good job, little girl. This is cool. Are you going to try to chastise the way she's rocking a lever? Are you kidding me? So, and it's just bullshit like that, right? Little Sugar's got an opinion on it too. She's going to get involved here in a minute. But anyway, I don't want to, boy, I tell you what, it just, I'm like, come on, man. We're our own worst enemy as gun owners.
Say something next time. I didn't realize that thing cut out again.
Oh, can you still hear me?
Oh yeah, I don't know. It's just my mic cuts off for some weird damn reason.
Oh, I didn't know if you could hear me. That's why I was doing that.
So I was like, "What are you waving your hands for?"
Oh.
But yeah. No. In the end, it's just you do you. That's why I post this shit online. You do you, and if you ask the opinion, obviously everyone's gonna give you an opinion. But then it's funny when you come as another person saying you do you. It's not good enough for people. No, this is the way.
Because I feel like, and I'm probably wrong about this. And I watched this video on YouTube. And if I remember correctly, the title was, "You Don't Know How Stupid You Are." and I'm like, I think I know how stupid I am, but and it was a great
let me think about it though.
And it was a video about amateurs versus experts versus veterans of a particular subject, whatever it is. And like, when you get interested in something and you learn just a little bit, you feel like you have a really good knowledge base on it.
Yeah.
But then as you really begin to learn it,
I don't know
you
shit.
realize, I don't even know half of this shit. And then when you go from amateur to expert to like veteran expert, and you've really got a good grasp on the subject, then you really realize, I don't even know what I don't know.
Right.
You know, it's kind of like, and the guy gave an example of, I think it was an automotive enthusiast, someone who's into cars. And they're like, they've got a very basic understanding of an internal combustion engine. So they feel like they can talk about anything. You know, then you've got the ASC certified technician, you know, that really knows that stuff. And he is going to be far humbler and far more quicker to think about what he's going to say before the camera. Now you've got the service writer. Well, that's a bad example because most of them are idiots, but like the lead tech, you know, that's been ASC certified mechanic or technician for 30 years. Yeah. That is a true veteran expert.
Yeah.
The people that I feel like that jump on these damn YouTubes and Reddit that are chastising someone's stance or someone's what, they are those amateurs.
Yeah.
They're like, you know, I shot I went out yesterday and I shot 4 clips out of my 40.
Oh yeah, 4 clips, yeah.
Okay, right?
Yeah, out of my Glock 40.
Yeah, I shot 4 clips of bullets out of my Glock 40. So, and I at 6 feet, I put 8 out of 10, you know, in a pie plate. So, you know what I'm gonna do?
I'm gonna tell people how they're doing wrong. Yeah,
and I'm gonna make myself feel better because evidently I was a born expert.
Yeah,
and that's when I see people commenting on, you know, like my mom. She's 80-some years old. She's 5'2", about 105 pounds, and she'll get out there and she'll shoot a 357 Magnum, Dave. But
I know she's just some big shit,
you know. But she has a tremendous amount of recoil to contend with,
of course.
And people are like, you need to teach that woman how to shoot. How you know?
Like you couldn't be any more ignorant making that statement.
How to shoot that handgun better. She's struggling with recoil recovery. You know, and I'm like, well, and I'll be like, well, you know, my mom, the Navy SEAL, right, is out here, you know, 6 hours a day training with a 357. You know, like she comes out of the pond in her ghillie suit. I'm like, hey, fuckhead. She's 82 years old. She's 5 foot tall and she weighs 105 pounds.
Yeah.
And she's out here shooting a 357 Magnum. Come on.
That's keyboard commandos, man. That's like the shit they live for, you know?
Yeah. You need to teach that
dumb.
woman how to shoot better. She's struggling with recoil.
And that's like I said, that's mainly I just want to help people, man. You get to, like, you know, I talked about that that Rogue Methods class I took. He said his thing was always about options. I just want to give you options. That's kind of like, I feel like I've picked up, that's like my mantra on it all. Like, I want to give you options, man. You run your light at 6 o'clock, go for it. Don't be afraid to try other spots, but if it works, go for it, man. But you can do other spots too, because why not? Like, it's just, look at Larry Vickers. You know who Larry Vickers is, right? Delta guy. He's in still North Carolina. For years, that dude always ran a small little like TLR-1 pistol light or X300 at 12 o'clock on his rifles because it was right there, the thumb control. You know, I mean, it's like, because you know what? Because it worked for him. It's like, who cares?
I like that.
Use it. Right. I mean,
I used to, years ago, I had a really close friend of mine. His name was Roger Pettit, and he was a combat veteran Marine. And Roger's passed along now, but Roger was what we would call a very, very colorful character.
Okay.
Very colorful, but he taught concealed carry, and he made the concealed carry class entertaining. So, but he also taught a number of defensive pistol classes, and I worked for him for probably 5 or 6 years teaching defensive pistol. And I had my way. And I'm like, I'm isosceles. I'm like, and Roger's like, I want you to teach Weaver, isosceles, and modified isosceles. And I'm like, really? He goes, I want to give my students options.
Right.
Hunter, you may not like Weaver, and you may have all these reasons that Weaver is outdated. Right. But if this one guy over here, let's just say he's got a bad elbow or his ribs are, and you show him Weaver, and he's significantly faster and more accurate. Why wouldn't he run that? And I'm like, and that goes like you said, give people a number of options, let them try them all, and then figure out this is what works best for me for now. And what works best for you for now may not be what works best for you tomorrow or next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, well, I was like the late great James Yeager. He had a great video that said, I don't give a shit about your stance. And he was like, you want to do your Weaver, your isosceles, your modified, whatever. He goes, if bolts are flying, you should be moving and getting your ass behind cover. Your stance doesn't mean shit. And there's applications. I totally agree with that. I'm like, yes, it's good to know a stance to learn some of your fundamentals of shooting. Right. But the reality is, like, that's why I like competitions are good for everybody to try, because you're not going to stop at every little position and make sure you're in a perfect Weaver or isosceles stance. You're going to get to wherever you need to be and lean out from cover and blast at a target. I mean, that's.
I took a 3-day class at Range Ready down in Louisiana.
Okay.
On the 1911, and it was Chris Sereno.
No.
Yeah, well,
it's shit. Anyways,
it was Chris Sereno, who was the primary instructor, fantastic instructor, like Chris a whole lot, and Mark Rettel, who's the pro shooter for Colt, was there. And somebody brought that very subject up. They're like, I find that, when I'm shooting, I like to have my, dominant leg back. And Mark's like, when you're on the square range and you're just punching paper, get that beautiful stance. He goes, but when I'm shooting a match, you're running and gunning. He said, from about my nipples down, I don't give a shit what's going on. I'm worried about front sight.
Yeah.
Because you're running and squatting and moving and grooving and dancing, popping, and all of that is irrelevant.
Yeah.
If you miss, you can't go, well, excuse me, I didn't have my stance perfect. Let me reshoot it.
Exactly.
And I'll tell you what, Mark Rettel, and we went out there and shot. Now, and I've shot with Mark Rettel before, like at Gunsight at all, just playing around. But like Mark got his damn pro shooter hat on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna tell you what now, that boy can flat shell down the corn.
Dude, the pros can burn the shit down. They really can. But
he's a good old boy. He's from Connecticut, but he's just the nicest, most humblest, funnest guy. I think the world of Mark Rettel. And we always joke and kid at shot, and I really think a lot of him. But to see him, and he's in his late 60s, I believe.
Yeah.
He's like, Jerry Michlik. He's an older gentleman.
Yeah.
And my God, that man can run a 1911. And there was a lot of people out there that were bringing up, well, I heard this about the 1911. And Mark, to his credit, spent a lot of time disproving incorrect ideals about the world's greatest fighting handgun.
Right.
So
I'm not going to give you shit on that comment. I'll let that roll. I like 1911.
I mean, come on now. 2 World Wars, baby.
Oh, God, I won't go that far. But, yeah, no. 1911 is a great gun. It's a great gun.
I'll tell you this. This will blow your mind.
But it didn't win us 2 world wars. I'd give the Garand more winning over the 1911.
Did you know that every semi-automatic handgun on the planet owes its roots, listen to me, to John Browning and the 1911?
Oh, come on. To Browning, yes. The 1911, come on. He's got a lot of earlier designs that were very similar to the 1911.
But that's the thing. The 1911 was the refinement.
Oh, for sure. Well, I know it's funny. What's Glock's tagline? Is perfection. No, Browning hit perfection with the 1911.
I guarantee you did.
But it hasn't been perfected anymore. I mean, unless you want to talk about like 2011s with double stacks, which is cool. It's just more capacity. But yeah, the 1911 is just awesome.
When that style of pistol was developed, the Wright brothers were still running a bicycle shop.
Right.
Now we're on the moon, and it's basically unchanged.
Yeah.
But I mean,
no, I don't disagree with that. I mean,
the tilting locking barrel.
Yeah.
The recoil spring under the barrel, locking up at the muzzle, locking lugs, all that stuff. It's a John Browning.
Yeah, you won't get an argument. I mean, 1911s are fucking awesome. They've always been awesome. Yeah, okay, fine. Modern technology shooting wise, yeah, their capacity isn't the best.
I agree.
But even that one, I won't harp on that too much because look at how long ago, the micro compact pocket like Ruger LCPs, the Keltecs were, and what those things hold 6-7 rounds.
I mean,
like 1911 capacity. It's like, come on, I'd rather carry that. Yeah.
I mean, this is what I got right here.
They're just awesome.
I mean, and this is a good shooting little pistol. And look at the hole on that. Good God. I mean, that's like the glory hole you see at the truck stop bathroom, man.
Oh,
that thing is a cavity.
Oh, God.
All you got to do is show them the hole. They're like, what sort of howitzer, handheld howitzer are you running there, son? It's like a black hole of death.
No love here. Oh, is that
oh, you shit's out of fuck. You know why I won't focus on that? Because the hole's too small.
Shut up. Oh, there you go. Now you can see. Oh, there you go.
What is that? Oh, is that a pellet gun?
Fuck you.
Let me see the muzzle. The hole in the muzzle. Oh, 17 caliber. Is it 17? Is that one of them newfangled 22 caliber handgun pellet guns?
Shut up.
You know I love you, right?
I know. Asshole.
Yeah, guilty. So look, man, I got two things I want to go over.
No,
I'm gonna insist. First thing, all right, I'm gonna let you pick. First thing or second thing. I had one of the weirdest things ever happen to me in my life a couple months ago. Weird, scary, weird. And two, I discovered one of the coolest YouTube channels about a week ago. Now, if I can only tell one story, I'll only tell one. But they're both really good. But I mean, you tell me where do you want to go?
What the hell is this even? Nice lead in.
Well, that way, if it sucks, I'll be like Dave's fault. All right.
Maybe I'll make you tell me one, and then tell me the other, and I'll cut out whichever one sucks.
Fair enough. So we'll start with the shortest version.
Okay.
So I found this YouTube channel, and it's you know what? I can't.
Now you can't even remember it. Oh my God.
Well, hold on. I got a tab open right here. And
holy crap! It just lit you up.
Oh yeah, ain't I beautiful?
I still understand how you're not using one of your Canon cameras, and it's 2 wires. I mean, a fake battery. I mean, look at the image differences, man.
Here's the thing.
What are you using? A webcam on a laptop or something?
Yeah, I'm damn gorgeous. If I were to use a pro camera, people would be stalking me. Let me tell my damn story, okay?
Okay, get on with it.
It's
YouTube channel. It's really cool.
It's
has videos.
It's SVOs? No, fucker. I don't even know what that is.
It has videos.
Oh,
it has videos.
No. It's all podcast because nobody listens to that shit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's got videos. So it's people recanting scary shit that's happened to them. Okay. And they interview the people, and then they also like reenact it. So it's not like they're sitting in front of a wall telling a story.
Right.
They're interviewing. So anyway.
Okay, that's kind of interesting.
It's got a lot.
What is this channel called?
I'll tell you.
I mean, I'll put it in the description like when we post this shit.
Okay. I'll look it up right now. But it's got some production value to it, obviously, because they've got like they reenact a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they're making little like shorts more or less almost.
Yeah,
shorts is in short films, not YouTube
they're like
films.
20
Jesus.
minutes interviews.
Yeah, like little like short films. That's cool.
All right, so I'm gonna go to.
Oh, you can even drop it like in our private chat here. You send me the link. It's like pull it up.
I think it's right here.
That'd be really slick if you could figure that part out.
It's called Wild Dream Films.
Wild Dream Films. So again, drop it in the private chat.
Like, for example, the one that's up right now, it says Kentucky campers ambushed by Bigfoot. Terror in the woods. And every one of them's like Terror in the Woods or something like that. And so they're really well done. They're really well shot. Anywho, so I was watching this one because it was about this guy going camping in Roanoke, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And
Roanoke has some history to it.
Right. And so it's him and his wife. They're talking, and then it's like it cuts to a scene of him going out and getting to his car, pulling a camper, and they're driving, and he's like recanting the story while they're playing it out.
Right.
I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Anyway,
it's documentary style.
Exactly. It's very well filmed. And so the guy's like, we get to the campsite, and it's like through these back roads and the Outer Banks.
Okay.
And he's like, we get to the campsite, and it's essentially, he's telling it's a completely primitive campsite. There's not even parking spots.
Right.
It's just a big field in the middle of the woods, and that's it.
Right.
And they didn't have a full-time park ranger. He's like, as they're coming up, the park ranger's leaving. And he's like, hey, what's going on? The guy's like, we're going to think about sleeping here tonight. And the park ranger's like, okay, see you in the morning. Anyway, they get this weird Oompa Loompa vibe, and they decide to jam. And they're driving home on this, right? And it shows the guys, like the B-roll is the guys driving on much more in a dirt path,
Right.
And you hear this loud boom, and the guy's like, oh, we hit something. And he's like slows down. His wife's like, what if that was a dog or something and you heard it? The guy's like, oh, I can't let it suffer. Have to figure out, take it to the vet or what have you. And so he gets out and he's checking it out.
Like, I'll take care of it.
Yeah. And so, Dave. And so he describes seeing this creature, this like he get, and the way he tells it is obviously, they had prepared him a bit of a script based off his story because he was
sure.
And then they're like filming as he comes around his camper, looking at the busted taillight, and I was enjoying it. And then they have like this, they're showing the guy shine his light in like this scrub, and you see this weird looking wolf-like creature with his eyes shining. And he's telling the story. He goes, it looked like a wolf, but he said it had this smell, and it was growling, and it was like 30 yards from me. And he goes, but it looked to be like 3 foot tall at the shoulder. And his face didn't look wolf-like. It looked different. It didn't have as big of a snoot like he's describing it, and I'm probably screwed.
Right. It's all right.
And he goes, and then like over here, I hear another one growling. And when this one growls, the one I'm looking at stands up on his hind legs.
Oh, shit.
And he goes, and then I hear the other one growl. Now, at this point, the guy does have a revolver. He carried a 357 out there, and he's doing the old, old school light revolver.
Right.
And it shows him sweep the light over. And he said, I hear another growl, and I sweep it over here. And then when I sweep back, he said, instead of this one being 30 yards away from me, he's 10 yards away. He moved that quick. He said, I shoot him, and I'm watching this with Kenny, and I'm like, I'd put 6 in that somebody's breadbasket right now. Are you kidding me? And the guy was like, I shoot him and hit him directly in the shoulder. And he says, it didn't even act like it phased him. So anyway, then he gets in his car and hauls ass off.
Right.
And then so I look at Candy, and I think I've told you this a lot of times. Candy and I will watch a movie or a scenario or something along those lines, and we'll pause and go, okay, what would you do?
Right.
So what would you be carrying? How would you have handled that if you, and then she and I will talk about it. And I feel like that's, I don't want to say it's training,
Right.
but you know, in some small way, it helps your mindset, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. What would I be carrying? I mean, in that sense of it, I'm usually carrying a 9mm pistol of some kind. I mean, like I've been carrying my Echelon a lot of times. I carry my VP9 a lot of times. Especially when I'm going out of town, I'm carrying something with a red dot like one of those two. Those are my main things. So I'm talking 17 to 20 rounds in a magazine, you know, and the defensive carry mags, it's usually a Skittles mag. So I've got some double tap in here. I've got some, I don't know, I've got several different things in the Skittles mag. So it's got shit that'll kill something for sure. Hi, Tucker. But yeah, no, I don't know. That's a weird thought. Like, yeah, you think you hit something, sure, you're gonna go look at your vehicle and check it out. You know, I don't necessarily carry that much with like a light on my stuff anymore, but I still have a light handy, so I could still be, you know, looking.
This guy was like, you know, he gets his flashlight out and he goes, I reach for the door handle, and I'm like, hang on a second. And he opens his glove box and he pulls out a 357, which now in the video it was a pellet gun.
But who really has a 357 in their glove box? Come on.
Oh, this guy, he was probably in his like 60s. So yeah,
okay.
That totally tracked.
I was thinking younger, so okay.
No, he was an older fella. You know, him and his wife were retired and they were into camping.
Right.
And so and he's walking out there around his camper and he's totally doing the old school. And I was like, you know, this guy, at least he's not one of those idiots that, oh, I'm on a desolate highway and I heard a boom. I'm just going to jump out here and look around. I got a flashlight on my phone. It shines 8 inches in front of me.
But that'd be most people, man. That'd be most people.
Okay, so that was great. I asked Cannon, like, let's watch one more before we go to bed. The next one was about another couple, and her father had this like hunting cabin way out in the woods, like an hour and a half drive out of town. And then it was like a 30-minute drive up what was much more than an ATV path. I'm not gonna tell the whole story because they hear like, and of course they remember the guy was trying to mimic the sound, but it sounded like this really deep, you know, and he's like, I could hear snorting and heavy breathing and calling. And it was him and his wife and 2 kids, young kids. And they're getting water out the creek and they hear it. So they freak out and they decide to go to the cabin and they're going to have lunch. And I'm like, why are you know, if this freaked you out enough to not get water, because where they were staying, they didn't have no electricity, they're running water, no nothing.
Right.
Why didn't you go and get your car?
Yeah.
And then, you know, as they're preparing food, guess what happened? It drew them in. I mean, Ray Charles could see that coming. They're making sandwiches and stuff outside on this picnic table, and the guy's like,
breeze blowing through, something smelling it, and
right, you know, and the guy's like, you know, it's obviously something large, and we could hear like 4 or 5. But here's the thing, David, and this is my point on this. They were an hour and a half away from home, 30, 45-minute drive up, not much more than an ATV path, in the woods that was a hunting cabin. The guy didn't have gun one.
That's most people, man.
He was up there, and you know what he had? A fucking cell phone with no reception. You know, and I'm like, really? You got 2 kids?
Dude, that's most people.
You know, and they were like, this was way up north somewhere. So, you know, they got bear and moose.
Right.
You know, even if you're fixing a sandwich and you get the attention of a grizzly bear.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? You ain't going to talk him out of not eating y'all.
I know. but no, that's more. I think it's more common than you think, dude.
Yeah, and I
mean-
couldn't believe it. So, I've been watching these, and a lot of people will go in the fucking woods or and they're like, you know what? Let's just go. I'm going to bring some bear spray. Oh, I got this super bright 16 lumen hand flashlight that runs off a watch battery.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you get eat, hey, you out of the fucking gene pool, you ain't got no business breeding anyhow.
Dude, like okay, so but one buddy of mine, he got real big into backpacking, like backpack hiking, and before he got big into it, he was talking about. I was like, yeah, sounds like fun, I'd be game. And he had another buddy, so three of us were like, yeah, let's go backpacking, and we found some spot it was a couple hours from here. I guess it was Southern Ohio. Southern Ohio technically does actually get into like the foothills of Appalachia, so it gets hilly.
So you could run into some critters or some, weird people.
Probably weird people more than critters. I mean,
You got a pretty mouth.
yeah, I don't know much for like bear. You have to go further south and east for us to get. I don't think we have any bear population in Ohio. I don't think. I could be wrong with that. But anyways, I'd be more worried about weird people because the trail that we found. I mean, it was off in the woods. There was an active like mine in the area. So when we were driving in, they had signs about mine explosion, like detonations and shit.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so it was like, okay, so there are people around. Well, because we were all, early 20s, we'd gotten guns. We knew we could open carry in Ohio. So we open carried, guns on our hips, as we went backpacking for the weekend. Didn't care. First day we walk in, I don't remember if we saw anybody or not walking in. But we stopped early to camp because the weather turned shitty on us and was like, we better get a tent up before we're just gonna get completely soaked. Of course, we get all our crap set up and the rain stopped, and we're like, okay, we'll just camp for the night, whatever. But yeah, so three of us sleeping in our own tents, all have handguns at the very least. Have a handgun, Now my other buddy, he's gone to a bigger state park down in Kentucky, and he's never carried a gun ever since. He's just going for the whole backpacking experience thing, and that's fine, whatever. But I'm thinking, I don't think I would even do. If I go with him and go with him in general like that, I would still have something on me. Like
I'm gonna really ooze FUD here, so I want you to try to contain yourself.
Okay,
but like Candy loves to go hiking,
yeah,
and we'll do a day trip out in the woods or whatever. And bless her heart, I love her. She carries her Springfield 911 at 380 because that's her carry gun, and she loves it. And so whether we're going to the grocery store or we're going to go hiking, that's what she's got. She's got her Springfield 911 and I think one spare mag.
Right.
When if she's like, we're gonna go hiking or camping, I carry a Colt Kodiak and 44 Magnum. I'm serious business, man, and I will carry and I carry a cylinder of their 320 grain hard cast.
Jesus.
And then I've got 2 6-round speed strips. One of them has another 6 rounds of that 320 hard cast.
Right.
And then one will have like their 180. This is double tap, 180 grain, like home defense. And then a lot of times I'll throw a speed loader of 45 special in my front pocket.
I'm not going to fudge you on that because revolvers have never been a bad thing to carry. They've never been my.
Now this is woods carry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm too ingrained into the capacity, 17 round capacity, and with one magazine because a lot of times I don't carry an extra.
But think about this: what if you're hiking and you stumble upon a damn grizzly bear, and you got a 9mm
dumping 17 to 20 rounds into its ass? I mean,
now you know what you're gonna do? You're gonna piss that grizzly bear off. I'm trying to, they got damn 18 inches of muscle on their chest.
I'm not arguing into that. Man.
So here's what I was.
If I was ever really in more bear country or found myself in more bear country, I probably would look at getting a 10mm
Yeah.
I still have to carry for that purpose because again, revolvers are not my thing. They're not my jam. I can't shoot them very well. Granted, I still want to get a Colt and throw a red dot on it, and that would change things a lot. But even the Colt that I want is only a 357. So
Which
no,
is
I would
pretty
probably do a 10 millimeter. That has 17 rounds. I don't know how many. Well, I don't know what capacity 10 millimeter is, but
not much different than the like in between 9 and 45.
yeah, okay. But that's what I would do. I would do a 10 mil probably if I found myself doing that much more bear stuff in bear country. I should say.
Well, Art, I want to tell you this thing that happened to me, and I actually did a little video about this, but I'm going to revisit it because whatever it is, it revisited me.
Okay.
So, and I'm not gonna give you the long drawn out. This is a 6-8 minute story. So this was like a Tuesday or Wednesday night, and my cell phone rings. It's my mom, and it's like 10 o'clock. And I answer the phone, and my mom normally don't call me that late, and I'm worried about her. Now, as we know, my mother lives 60, 70 yards from me, and where
I was
like
gonna guess 50.
yeah, maybe 50. And like the way her living room is set up, if she's sitting in her living room watching TV, she can see like my driveway and the front edge of my house.
Right.
Like she's caught like the UPS man coming down here to deliver something, and I'm not home. She's caught him. As a matter of fact, real quick, like a rabbit, this guy I used to cut trees with named Jason owed me some money, and he called me up and goes, "Hey man, I got that money I owe you," and I'm like, "Jason, I'm not home." He said, "Well, I'll just go by and drop it off at your house." Jason's always had a 4-door white Ford pickup, and he had not long traded in on a 4-door Chevrolet. Who knows why? Anyway, Jason calls me, and he goes, "I'm at your house, and your mother has got me held at gunpoint." My mom saw that white 4-door Chevrolet come down my driveway because she could see my driveway from like either her room, all the rooms in the front of her house. She could see my driveway and so like she saw that truck coming down. I think she might have even been in the bathroom and saw that truck coming down. Walked outside, got her BMW, drove across her driveway into my driveway and blocked my driveway. And held him at gunpoint with a Ruger SP-101. I shit you not.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
He turned around and goes, Miss Barbara. But she keeps eyes on. Mama keeps eyes on, and she's home. She's home all the time.
That's
and
funny.
She keeps eyes on my equipment. She feeds my cats. She'll walk over to my house, once or twice during the day and check on shit. So anyway, phone rings about 10 o'clock, 10:15. And it's my mom. And normally she's in bed by 10:15. And she said, "Now I'm in my house. I got the door shut, and I'm probably cutting video or watching TV or something."
Right.
And she said, "Son, do you hear that?" And I'm like, "Mom, I'm in the house." And my mother, she grew up on a farm. She's been in many of my shooting videos. She keeps a 357 Magnum in 3 rooms. And believe it or not, David, she's got a High Point carbine 9mm. Yes,
that's awesome.
In the corner. One that you had sent me and I got from you, I transferred it to her. Got her a couple spare mags, and so she's better armed than most people.
Yeah,
and she comes over to my house at least once a month and shoots. And so she calls me, and I could hear there's some fear in her voice. She said, "Son, do you hear that?" And I'm like, "No, ma'am."
I don't hear anything.
I was like, "No, ma'am, I'm in the house." She said, "Would you please get a flashlight and walk over here?" And I'm like, "Okay." So at the time, I had this in my pocket. This is a Charter Arms Pit Bull
Charter, yeah, okay,
in 45 auto. And I'm in my pajama bottoms. And that was just, one of the revolvers that I have laying out. So I just slipped that in my pajama bottoms pocket, and I grabbed my flashlight. And as soon as I opened the door, I heard it. And it sounded like a rabbit in distress. You ever heard like a little bunny rabbit?
God awful sound. Yeah, it's a god awful sound.
It's a god awful sound. And right when I walked out, I heard it. I'm like, well, that's what it is. So I walk over to Mom's, which 50, 60 yards away, and I get to her front porch. Mama comes out now. She's got a some test light, some that I reviewed and wound up getting. She had that. I'll give her a couple nice flashlights. She had that stream light and her Python in her hand.
That's awesome.
Now, Mama grew up in the country. They killed hogs for a living. They killed. Mama shot coyotes and anything coming bothering the livestock. So it ain't beyond my mama to defend herself against whatever.
Right.
So Mom comes out. She's got that light. She's got her damn Python, and the screen door's still locked. And I walk up on the porch, and Mom opens the porch, and I could hear it, and it's coming from behind her house. Now, I got 20 acres of woods to my right. There's a pond. There's about 20 some acres behind me, and then like a strip of houses where my mom and my cousin live, and then more woods. And I'm like, Mom, I hate to break this to you, but that's a little bunny rabbit in distress.
Right.
Something's either got it or chasing it or whatever. And she said, oh, my God, it's awful.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, like there's nothing we can do about it. I mean, it's pitch black. And it sounded like it was 100, 200 yards away.
Oh, yeah. It's a needle in a haystack.
Never find it.
No.
And it got quiet. And I'm like, well, Mom, that's I'm like, probably an owl got it or something. That's nature. You hate it.
Yeah.
And she said, okay, son. So she's like, I'm good. I'm going to go back. She's like, I'm up. I'm going to watch TV for a little while. She got a TV back in her back room. And she's like, she could still see, like, in her bedroom, she can still see out my driveway in that area. She's like, I'm going to go prop up in the bed, watch a little TV. Okay. So I start walking home. And then I live on about 5 acres. And I live on the back acre. So there's 5 acres in front of me, and it's all wooded. And then it's just you seen a little 2-lane blacktop, and then woods across from that.
Yep.
Dave, when I walk, like, my mama's driveway's here, it's dirt. Then there's a little cut through, and it's my driveway. You've seen it.
Yep.
And then you kind of spill right into my front yard where my range is.
Right.
So I get through the wooded area between my mom and mine house, and I hear that noise again. But it's coming from behind my range. Now, from the time I left my mom's to now, it's been, how long does it take you to walk 50, 60 yards? Yeah. 2 minutes?
Not long, couple minutes, yeah.
Right. Couple minutes. And it's gone from 100, 200 yards behind mama's house to in the woods by my pond. Now, first thing I'm like, oh man, that poor rabbit is getting drug all over hell in half of Georgia. I'm going to see what I can do to help.
So nope. All right.
And I had like a damn some flashlight I was reviewing, and it was some like 700-800 lumen light. I mean, it was a really nice light.
Yeah.
And so I walk to my range, like it's cut grass and then my berm and then woods. So I walk to the berm and I hear it, and it's like 30 yards in the woods. But I'm listening, and it's about every, 30, 40 seconds. I hear it for a couple seconds and it quits. But this time it sounds like it's eye level.
Oh, that's a shit.
So
that's because the owl's holding up a tree with it.
Had to be something. So I'm like, I'm shining, nothing. And now here's the deal. If you come to my house right this moment and you go out in my front yard and you shine a flashlight through the woods, you're going to see raccoon eyes, you're going to see possum eyes, you're going to see fox eyes. There's a couple cats, and they all at night congregate by the pond. Right. I'm shining. There ain't even any lights, eyeballs shining back at me. Which I'm like, that's odd.
Interesting, yeah.
So
I mean, something's bigger out there that's scared off, things are normally there.
Is right? Whatever. So you know what I do? I start walking in the woods. I walk past.
Okay, this is how you don't survive a horror movie, Hunter. You're doing the dumb things that people do in horror movies. You don't walk into the woods and keep investigating. You go back in your fucking house.
Hindsight. So I walk past my berm and I'm walking the woods and I'm getting what I think is where I should be. And I hear it now and it's further away. Now I'm shining.
Drawing you in more into the woods.
It's further away. And I'm like, fuck. So you know what I do? I keep walking. And I'm shining. And Dave, I'm running a flashlight, bro, that's like 700 or 800 lumens.
It only has a runtime of 30 minutes, probably, too, of constant on.
Yeah. If I'm lucky. Now, it had a full charge on it because I would charge it. So I'm shining. Should be seeing owl, foxes, coons.
In the eyes, yeah.
Nothing. But I hear it again, and it's so I walk. All total, I'll probably get in the woods about 100 yards.
In your pajama bottoms.
And I'm in like I'm either barefoot
or barefoot.
Barefoot or flip-flops, pajama bottoms, a t-shirt, 5 rounds of 45 auto, and a flashlight. And that dawns on me. Dumbass. I'm 100 yards in the woods. And now whatever this is, it's moved away from me. And I can still hear it. But it's 30, 40 yards in front of me. And I get
drawing you away or trying to get away from you.
One or the other.
Or drawing you in, I mean.
One or the other. So I stop and I kind of contemplate my situation. And I'm like, dude, I'm in flip-flops or bare feet. I can't remember. Pajama bottoms. Now, I did have the revolver in my hand and I had the flashlight. And I'm like, I got
5 shots.
Like, 5 rounds. And the first thing my mind says is, it could be 6 or 8 coyotes. Because, they can make some weird noises.
Yes, they can.
Now, in my mind, it's coming from eye level, bro. But you're in the woods, stuff, and I'm pretty dense now.
It's so disorienting. You can't really get a fix on that.
It's hard. So, but I'm like, okay, Hunter, it's obvious that this is a fool's errand. So I turn around, and I'm not panicked. I'm just,
but you're a little concerned for yourself.
I'm a little concerned, but I'm not panicked. I'm like, this was just a stupid move. So I turn, I start walking. I hear it again, and it's coming closer. I shit you not. So I whip around with my flashlight, and I'm expecting to be within 20 feet.
Like right on top of you.
I can hear it, and I whip around, and I'm shining. Now, by now, I've put this light on turbo mode, so it's 800 lumens. I mean, the lens is hot, and I'm shining, and I'm expecting to see something. Nothing. I'm like, all right, at this point, so I kind of step it up a little bit, and I start walking straight to my house, and, 10, 20 seconds go by, and I hear it again, and it's close. To where at this point, I hear it. When I whip around, I've got my revolver, and I whip around, and I have made my mind up. My light is going to fall on something that's alive. And I've got my revolver in my hand. I'm like, if this is weird shit, 5 rounds and I'm going to run. But I turn around, Dave, and I shining, still nothing. So I turn, at this point, I'm starting to be like, all right, this is really off-putting. By now, it's like 11:30. I begin, now I hear it a couple more times. And I turn and look, but I'm not stop walking. I'm kind of doing the old, and so I hear it, and I feel like it's getting closer. Now, the front of my house, and the back of my house, and the sides, and my building, I have motion sensors and motion sense lights and motion sense cameras.
Right.
And so when I get to, and I'm hearing it now, and it's every 20, 30 seconds, I'm hearing this rabbit in distress. As soon as I walk in my front yard, my motion lights trip and they boom. And I've got like, you see my house.
Yeah. You're feeling that little sense of more safe and secure because those lights have kicked all on.
I got 2 motion lights here and then 2 in the corner. And when I walk on, 3 of them kick on. Boom, boom, boom. Right. And they're super bright.
Right.
And it illuminates my whole front yard. And that fucking noise goes away. It's like you just pushed the off button.
Being taunted.
So I go in the house. Now, when I walk in the house, my cell phone's ringing. I walk in the house, I lock the screen door, I lock my storm door, I lock my door. My cell phone's ringing. I scoop it up on the way to my room. And it's my mother, and I see like 7 missed calls. And I'm like, hello? And she said, Lee, where in the hell are you at? I said, Mom, I just walked in the house. She said, do you not hear that thing? Can you not hear that? I said, yes, ma'am. I mean, I did. I heard it when I was walking from your house, and I decided to go investigate. She said, you know you ain't that stupid. And I said, well, Mama, I thought it might have been a critter or something. You know, I'm. And she said, no. You stay. So I go to and I get my safe, and I get out my Marlin in 45-70, and I stoke up some of them damn 405 grain double taps, you know. And I'm on the phone with my mom, and I hear it again, except it's behind my house, 200 yards away.
Taunting you.
And I'm like, Mom's like, I can hear that barely. I'm like, but it sounds like it's really far away. She said, yeah. Okay, that was 3 months ago or so, I reckon. Freaked me out. Mom and I talked about it. I talked to my damn neighbors about it. I talked to Candy about it. You know, and mom's like, I don't know what the hell that was. So anyway, and I'll wrap this story up. What's the day? Wednesday?
Yeah.
Sunday night, you know, I bought that old 89 F350.
Yep.
You shut the door on that thing, and it sounds like a damn hand grenade going off. It's just all metal, you know. So I went out there, and it looked like it was going to be rain. And so I had the truck that when I bought it, you know, it had been shut up a while, so it had kind of just a musty kind of smell. And so I've been leaving the windows down as much as I could, but it looked like threat of rain. So I walked outside. I walked to the passenger side. I opened the door. I spooled the window up. I slammed the door. When I slammed the fucking door, Dave, I heard that sound again. And it sounded like it was from behind my house, like 200 or 300 yards. And I went, what in the fuck?
I mean, I've got no logical explanation to try and give you, you know.
But hold on, I'm not done yet.
Okay.
I walk and then I dismiss it. Okay, I'm like, nah. Walk around to my truck, open the driver's door, spool the window up, slam it. I hear it again, and it sounds like it's at my back door. So I go in the house, lock everything up. I call my mom. She's like, I thought I heard that. But that, you know, and you could call my mama she's sleeping right now, but if you call her tomorrow and ask her about it, she'll tell you the same damn story.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt
now,
it one
what
bit.
the fuck was that?
I've got zero sense of logical explanation for you, other than to say the simple reality is we think we know everything that's out there. We don't have a clue. I mean,
and with all the construction and everything going on everywhere,
yeah,
where I live is, you know, of course, where I live is still pretty wooded. But
it take long to get out of that and get back into the suburbs. I mean, not long at all. I mean, I was shocked to go from downtown Raleigh to your place, how fast it went from the city to the burbs to the woods. Like it was quick. It was a very quick trip.
And the burbs are encroaching daily.
Oh, I'm sure.
So as whatever these things are losing, I say things, coyotes.
Yeah, creature habitat. Yeah, I mean, it's a real thing. It's like being shrunk, and we're pushing them into different areas and smaller and tighter areas.
Right.
That's a real shit. I mean,
so, I mean, that's the freakiest thing ever happened to me.
I sent you a link in the chat. If you click that private chat bit for a movie on Netflix, you should watch. This became me think of it, called The Ritual. You've probably already seen it.
Oh,
no. Oh, I like it, man. It's one I've watched.
Okay.
Many a times had in the background. Yeah, just thinking of like how you're being taunted and drawn, that made me think of this movie. And it's definitely, like I said, it's Netflix. It's worth watching. The Ritual 2017. Good, creepy British flick. about guys backpacking in the wilderness.
Okay.
It's kind of cool. It's
I like creepy like that, but not
it's not slasher movie. It's dudes being, you know, I don't even say hunted, but being drawn into the woods, and it's weird. I don't even want to say it's a cosmic horror, but maybe it kind of is a little bit of cosmic horror. Give it a watch. Give it a watch.
Absolutely.
Hit that private chat, hit the link for it so you can find it.
Okay.
And yeah, definitely, because it's funny. Like I remember, buddy of mine was reading a story. It was a POWs of World War II story, and these guys like everything else. We're gonna paraphrase the shit out of stuff. These guys were hiking across some section of Siberia, which you probably know well enough to. Siberia is a humongous section of Russia.
Yeah.
Absolutely huge. North, south, east, west, huge section. It's not all snowy tundra like everybody acts like. It's just parts of it. But where they were crossing through some snowy tundra shit. And maybe they're even close to like Mongolia in the story where they're talking about it. But they said, like, as they were crossing through like this certain ridge line, they look over and they saw Yetis. And the Yetis looked at them. They looked at each other, and they realized, like, well, we're not encroaching on them. We're going to keep moving our way. And it kept going. So in this whole story of like surviving and escaping, there's this bit with these Yetis. Like it was just this common thing, like, yeah, they're out there. They're real. Believe it or not, don't really care. We saw them. They're out there. And they saw us. You know, it's like shit like that when it's not a fantasy story. How do you explain that? You know what I mean?
You know, and that's the thing too. Like, as far as Bigfoot and all that stuff's concerned, probably, maybe, I don't know, but
same.
I would never dismiss it.
No,
because over hundreds of years, tales have been recounted.
Like it's funny how much the Bigfoot shit. People used to think it was like, well, I should say think. You know, I was born in 80. So like in the 80s, when you hear all this Bigfoot shit, it seemed like it was only Pacific Northwest.
Mm-hmm.
And you start looking into it more. No, it's fucking everywhere. Like we have their own, Ohio has its own version called Ohio Grassmen. They had these like grass huts in Southern Ohio with tall grasses with their weaved together to form these little like hut hole, like shelters. And they're like, oh yeah, those Ohio Grassmen. And you look more and it's basically, it's a version of Sasquatch and Bigfoot. It's like, man, like there's got to be some truth to some of this shit. This isn't just bums. There wasn't bums that long ago, you know.
It's got to be. There's a pretty good channel. It's called Bedtime Stories.
Okay.
And the guy deals, and it's cool. He narrates it, and then it's illustrated by really well done pencil drawings.
Oh, that's cool.
Really well done, and like, you know, he'll do like a pan or a push in,
right?
And if you want to watch something that is super creepy, some of his stuff is good, some of it is okay. Right. But if you look up Bedtime Stories Wendigo,
I was just saying, that's what I thought was Wendigo. You're talking about your story too.
Yeah, you should watch that because it is amazing, and it's whether you believe in that or not. Like, right. You know, when he has a good bedtime story come on, the old 4570 is by the bed, brother. You know, that night after all that shit happened,
ready to blast some shit.
I put the 4570, I put that Marlin Trapper in the bed with me. Like I was under the covers, and that rifle was under the covers.
Yeah, I can think. I think this was before we did the hiking trip. One buddy of mine and his family had some land, like lots of acreage in Kentucky. I'm trying to think, it was central to western, so pretty good into Appalachia mountains and stuff. And we went down for the weekend just to shoot. We bought a bunch of ammo. We had our ARs and our 9mm, and we're just going to just shoot up the hillside. And a bunch of buddies got there first. Me and my one buddy, we were the last ones to get there. They'd already set tents up, which was cool, so we could basically go down there. We had one tent. We just threw our gear in, and the four of us slept in another tent because it was like, it's fine. And I grabbed my rifle. Now, mind you, too, we're also in, I don't say meth country because that was before meth got really that big, I think. But it was definitely in like pot farming country, illegal pot farming
You
country.
need to be way careful of that crowd.
Yeah. And so that was the thing. I was like, well, we're going to crash. I was like, I'm going to sleep with my AR right here. Stocked right here. Sit in my chest. And a couple of buddies were like, I can't believe you're going to do that. And I was like, it's not going to go off.
Right.
Like, one, it's on safe. And I'm holding it right here so I can sleep. I'm like, it ain't going anywhere. And I remember one of them woke us up middle of the night, freaked the fuck out. And I was just like, what, dude? Do you hear that? You hear like it's funny. It's like you got in the woods. What's the noisiest damn creature in the woods? Honestly,
A squirrel.
yeah, fucking squirrels.
Squirrel.
So we hear this massive rustling in the middle of the night, but then it tones down to like a smaller bit. I was like, okay, dude. First off, could be squirrel, could be deer, could be bear. Sure. I was like, but the fact we're sitting here talking about this shit as loud as we are, not whispering it, was like, it's going, what the hell is that in that big glowing green thing over there? It's like, I'm going to get the fuck out of here and walk away.
Away from that.
And the sound did it. It quickly disappeared.
Right.
And later on, he woke up again and was like, dude, I hear that shit. And I was like, dude, until something is banging on this tent, I don't care. And when it's banging on this tent, I'm going to light it the fuck up.
There you go.
It's that simple.
I mean, that's
30 fucking rounds. I'm just going to light it up.
and that's the thing. You go in the woods, carry something, y'all.
Yeah.
Carry a bright light and extra batteries and some kind of rifle and a reload and some kind of handgun and a reload.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I hate to sound like a doomsday prophet, but like you say, I mean, I've seen so many videos of like guys walking up. They're walking a trail.
Like the cougars, the mountain lions and shit come out
And
of them.
they'll stumble upon a damn mountain lion with four.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. If that happened to me, the next time you saw me on podcast, I'd be right here with a mountain lion. I'm like, look at that mountain lion.
Dude, you and me both. I'm like, look at my Euro mount.
No. I mean, it would be alive. Like I would bring that bitch home and raise her little cubs right here on the floor.
You're so full of shit.
I'm telling you.
You're gonna try. You're gonna get mauled.
If I ever stumble across a big cat in the woods, my last words are gonna be kitty, 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 kitty.
Oh my God. Of course they would be.
My father, one of his friends had an ocelot
Yeah.
back in the 60s. And my dad had a picture. He had bought this ocelot, a single wide trailer to live in.
Oh my God.
And it had like 3 couches and it was all linoleum. And my father had a picture of the owner and his cat wrestling in the kitchen. And the damn cat stretched out was as long as the dude was.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he said that,
It's a big
well,
cat.
I got a picture. I was down in Florida. Let me see if I can find this real quick. And I spent the afternoon playing with a Florida Panther.
Oh, Jesus. That's cool.
Let me see if I can find this real quick, man. I don't want to hold you up.
Looking for photos here. You go. No, I know. Every time you know of a photo and you want to find it real fast, you never can find it fast enough on a phone. You just like got to scroll through all the random other bullshit you take pictures of.
Which I've got way too much of, but
I go in spurts. I feel like there's times I'm looking at like I haven't taken a photo in days. And other times it's like, oh my God, I took like 72 photos just today. I'm like, what am I doing?
look at that handsome devil.
Oh yeah. I remember finding that picture.
That's me.
I know.
Right out of the Marines, Bo.
Looks like a whole other person, dude. That's like an alien photos I'll get out.
Holding a 1911.
Well, that's no shocker.
Can you believe that? I was even corrupted back then. Oh my goodness.
No, it's because 1911s are awesome. They've always been awesome. That's the last.
I can't argue with that. But we went down and played with this Florida Panther female, and man, I'm gonna tell you
I
what.
think you've sent me a picture of those. I feel like
I may have.
I feel like this sounds familiar.
She was pretty tame, and she had been hand raised and been around people her whole life.
Right.
So not really a dangerous animal, But let me tell you what, my
It's
brother,
still a wild fucking animal.
the amount of strength
Mm-hmm.
that this kitty cat possessed
Listen,
was,
you kitty cat. Jesus, still talking like a domesticated cat.
I mean, like you could pet her, but her tail, like when she would walk by me, I would grab her tail, and it was like grabbing furry rebar. Here it is.
Furry rebar.
Yeah. Let's see if that'll.
And it's like still washed out. Hold on. There you go. Yeah. I remember that. See that picture? Yeah, because again, look at you in the short beard.
Yeah. And dude, and that she was like 60 pounds, maybe 50 pounds.
Still a big cat.
And like she would walk up to a tree, bro, and they wouldn't be branches for 30 feet. And she'd walk up at a tree and jump and land on a branch.
It's like amazing, isn't it?
I mean, she could stand
Holy
flat-footed,
hell.
and the guy had an old beater car. She could stand flat-footed and just hop on the guy's car, and she would lay down on it.
God.
And I mean, like, you could wrestle and play with her, but if she wanted the upper hand,
Oh yeah, she'd take it and she'd have it.
and I'm like, there is no. I'm 210 pounds, 215 pounds. I work out, I lift weights. I mean, I'm 51, but
You gotta show him that cat.
not a fucking snowball's chance in hell. And like when she would climb the tree, she had these damn, 6 switchblades per
Yeah.
paw.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you didn't do shit.
pound for pound, a pussycat's got to be the baddest summit in the world. I mean, I'm trying to tell you. Anyway,
Here, I'll throw you another quick thing before we wrap it up and roll off of here. My buddy and I were shooting shotguns. We were talking about movies and especially like gun movies that inspire us to watch different things, or whatever. And here we're discussing, we both really do like apocalyptic themed movies, and this one is called Elevation. Came out just in 2024. It's got Anthony Mackie in it. Guy's the new Captain America.
okay.
And it's like 3 years after most of humanity's been wiped out by these creatures that can't go above 8,000 feet.
Oh, I saw and his son's like running out of a medicine or something.
Yeah, it's like air filters, like oxygen filters. So
He's
in
got to
Colorado.
go down and get it.
It's on what's fuck, I don't remember now. It's streaming on something.
I saw a preview.
It's all right. It's worth watching. It's not great.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, my wife and I watched it Sunday night, I think. Like the movie was fine. It was all right. It's clearly it's a low budget movie with better budget actors in it. Like clearly they wanted to do this kind of a passion project thing, which is cool. But the gun nerd in me, man. The first thing, like, it didn't completely take me out, but when they're shooting fake guns, they had the most like stereotypical muzzle flash that's like just a free file drop in of muzzle flash. Was so bad. I was like, okay, that I can forgive that. It's like whatever, it's fine. Too many scenes though, where then they're carrying like M4 style ARs, detachable carry handle. Too many scenes where he's got it, is all good, and then he turns around another scene, go to aim, and there's no rear sight aperture, nothing, and they're making these shots. I'm like, oh come on,
And
man.
you
like
see a lot of ARs without rear sights.
and I started thinking, I was like, how do you like B movies back in the day? I felt like were still better made movies. I think they really were. And I'm like, but man, how are the guns always better? And I'm like, oh wait, you dumbass, that's easy. Because every gun had iron sights. Optics were like a rare thing when you're talking 60s, 70s, early 80s movies. Everything had iron sights. Now ARs typically don't have iron sights, so you get the armor shit has like the front post sight at best. It was like, man, that just kept taking me out. I'm like, come on, movie. Like, maybe that's too critical, but
No,
the movie was entertaining. It's just that shit's annoying. Like, I expect that from a TV show because that's different,
less probably experts.
Yeah, I can remember when Walking Dead did it really, really bad, like in their 3rd season. The guy,
Yeah, when old boy was shooting his python like this.
No, that's I never understood that. That's like, yeah, it's like this.
Oh,
I don't get that either. But no, they had a guy with an AR. He was picked up ARs from National Guard guys, and they wiped out the National Guard guys. But he picks up this AR and makes like a 100-yard shot with no rear sight. You're like, come on, TV. Again, it's a TV show. I can let it go. But a movie, though, it's like, come on.
You should have had. I'm watching something right now, Dave. That's really good, and I don't want you to roll your eyes, but it's called The Last Ship.
My wife and I started watching that. We were enjoying it.
I really, really enjoy it, man. It's pretty good.
We only got I don't know. I know we didn't finish the first season. We just got busy with our shit, and we need to go back to watching it because
the next one I watch is going to be the first episode of season 4.
Okay, which there's only like 4 or 5 seasons in there.
4 or 5, but I'm gonna tell you what, it's pretty good.
No, it was entertaining. We enjoyed it. Like I said, that's one we need to go back to watching.
Season when they get back to the CONUS, the gunplay gets heavier and better. A lot of good, like whoever I think the technical advisors were on that movie, those Navy guys, they're moving in formation, move cover, move cover, move cover. And when they're retreating, they're move cover, move cover, move cover. A lot of their tactics look pretty sound. I mean, it looked like they spent at least enough time to make it look decent.
Right. And I feel like you run into it's the fine mix of having the armors / technical advisors that actually know what they're doing, but then also having directors and crew that give a shit to listen to that.
Right.
There's too many times where like, you've got the advisor, or you look at the credits, you see the advisor's like a legit dude. He knows his craft, but you're like, but why does this movie look so much like shit? Because the director's like, I don't care. My shot I want it to look like this, and you can't ever roll that,
Right.
So I can forgive it in certain ways and certain times, but the lack of a carry handle rear sight thing just burns my ass.
Yeah, that's kind of
just throw a simple red dot on. I mean, like I don't mind. Like I've seen movies where the EOTechs run backwards. That's okay. Is it comical to me? Yes. But does my wife realize that? No, because she's aiming through a windowed thing. I'm okay. That's fine. But no sight at all. It's like
no rear sight at all. Come on, y'all.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we should probably wrap this up. We've been on for a bit here.
I enjoy our podcast, man. I'm glad that
I do too. And I see it's got I get some in air quotes there, some views on Rumble with it. My YouTube on it is stagnant as fuck, but that's again, I'm putting so little effort into it in that sense. I'm not really that worried about it.
I'll tell you what.
Was it yesterday? I got the first episode we did on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So like for like actually a podcast, it's like for real.
Oh, well, I've posted a few of ours, and our first one is at 90 views on my channel.
Hey, that's all right.
So that ain't too bad. I mean, it's us for an hour and a half talking about shit.
Whatever. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I can tell you it was I have to pull the video back up of episode 2 and rip the audio out so I can get it posted. But the funny thing was I went through like extra steps yesterday. Apparently, I went to Apple Podcasts and created like the show under my account name, and then I created an account under Spotify to put the show out there. And then I've been paying for a service for a while, so I've got a lot of hours stacked up for this thing, which is cool because it was cheap. And I went to publish the first episode, and I was waiting for it to like ask for my login info on Apple and Spotify, and just put it out there. And I'm like, so it's out there. I'm like, I'm not really sure what's going on here. And I like end up doing it, ask the internet, and people are like, yeah, if you're using the service, yes, it'll put it out there, give it time to upload, anywhere from a couple minutes to a couple hours, and it'll be out there. So I'm like, so I just created these accounts for basically nothing because now it's going to be out there as the Live Fire Media show? ? I don't know. So lots of learning, man. We're figuring this shit out.
We're making traction, brother.
That's right. So, all right. Where can they find you, man?
Rangeshot.com, baby.
Hell yeah. I like it simple too. It's livefire-media.com. Everything else is there.
That's where we're at.
Well, I've got a night shoot. Moon's Out 2025 is Friday and Saturday night for me. So hopefully we'll have some cool, fun stories to talk from doing that night shoot with a high point pistol that's in that collection of shit in the corner there.
Nice.
Should be a good time. But either way, then we will be back on here. Well, we'll be on here next Wednesday, and yeah, but we're getting our shit out there. So
awesome. Well, I'm gonna keep up YouTube on the Range Out YouTube channel. So we'll steady pressure.
All right, man.
Dave, thanks, brother. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Me too, brother.
All right, man. Be good.
Peace.